At Dodger Stadium, under the soft California lights and the roar of baseball fans, Meghan and Harry were doing something so ordinary that it felt extraordinary. They were just living. No royal duties, no cameras trailing them for an official appearance. Just two people in love, wearing matching Dodgers caps, cheering for their hometown team. It was Game 4 of the World Series, Dodgers versus the Toronto Blue Jays, and it was everything you'd expect from a Los Angeles sports night. The air electric, the crowd alive. And in those prime front row seats sat the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, right beside sports legends like Magic Johnson and Sandy Koufax and Hollywood's own Austin Butler. The cameras caught them smiling, clapping, whispering, between innings, relaxed, easy, real. And for a moment, it was just that a couple enjoying baseball. No tension, no agenda, just pure, simple joy. The official Major League Baseball account even shared the moment online, calling them royalty in the front row. It was light-hearted, playful, appreciative. The crowd cheered. The mood was good. And then, as always, within hours, came the storm. Tabloids began circulating headlines claiming Meghan and Harry were booed at Dodger Stadium. But here's the kicker: there's not a shred of verified evidence that any booing ever happened. None. No video. No eyewitness reports. Not even a whisper from fans in attendance. In fact, if you go through social media clips from that night, and trust me, the stadium was full of fans filming everything, you'll find quite the opposite. People smiling, waving, cheering, snapping selfies as the cameras panned across the stands. So where did this booing rumour come from? It came from Toronto. At a Canadian watch party, Blue Jays fans booed, not at Meghan or Harry, but at the sight of Dodgers supporters on the big screen. You know, as fans do during sports rivalries. But leave it to the tabloids to twist a standard sports reaction into a so-called royal scandal. The moment shows exactly how small, harmless events get distorted when the Sussexes are involved. What was just friendly competition between baseball fans turned into a headline suggesting Los Angeles had rejected Meghan and Harry. Let's be clear, Los Angeles didn't boo them. Los Angeles loves them. They are locals. The city watched Meghan rise through her Suits days while filming in Toronto, and it has embraced her since she returned home. Harry, too, has become part of the California landscape, surfing, hiking, volunteering, coaching. They're a familiar sight now, not foreign royalty. But the British tabloids can't let that narrative stand. They need the scandal. They need the outrage. So a baseball rivalry became in their hands another so-called public humiliation for the Sussexes. And yet again it fell apart as soon as anyone checked the facts. Online reactions split sharply. Royalist accounts accused the couple of being disloyal for supporting the Dodgers instead of the Blue Jays. Yes, disloyal, as if baseball allegiances now count as international diplomacy. One witty user summed it up perfectly. "I didn't know Prince Harry was Canadian." That one line captured the absurdity of the entire controversy. Because for most Americans, this wasn't even a story. It was two people watching a baseball game. That's it. The idea that supporting a hometown team could somehow be a royal betrayal? Completely laughable. Here's another layer of irony. Meghan has history with both the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. During her Suits years in Toronto, she was often photographed in Blue Jays gear. She supported her local team while living there. But long before that, before the fame, before the titles, Meghan was an LA girl through and through. She grew up going to Dodger games. Her love for the team is rooted in childhood nostalgia, not recent headlines. So, when she and Harry showed up in Dodgers caps, it wasn't some diplomatic statement. It was Meghan going back to her roots, to her city, her team, her joy. And anyone trying to twist that into disloyalty is either deliberately ignoring context or clinging to outrage because peace doesn't sell papers. Now, let's talk about the familiar playbook. We've seen this before over and over. The Sussexes do something utterly normal, and within hours the story becomes an exaggerated morality tale. They go to a concert and it's attention-seeking. They volunteer and it's a PR stunt. They attend a sports game and suddenly it's public rejection. But when other royals face real booing, the coverage magically softens. Remember when William and Kate were at that Boston Celtics game in 2022? Crowds booed. Some even chanted USA, USA, loud enough to drown out the announcers. Did tabloids call that humiliation? No. They brushed it off as friendly sporting rivalry. But when Meghan and Harry are involved, suddenly it's scandal, snub, shame. That's not journalism, that's obsession. This double standard isn't subtle anymore. It's systemic. Every public appearance Meghan and Harry make gets dissected for imagined wrongdoing. Even their body language becomes tabloid fodder. Why did she laugh there? Why didn't he hold her hand? Why didn't they stay home? It's a relentless cycle designed to keep clicks coming and resentment brewing. Because as long as the tabloids can convince readers that the Sussexes are outcasts, they maintain control over the royal narrative. But here's the truth that breaks through every smear campaign. Outside that small UK media bubble, the world doesn't buy it anymore. In Los Angeles, Meghan and Harry aren't scandal. They're neighbours, parents, professionals, advocates. To the fans at Dodger Stadium, they were just two people cheering. Nothing more, nothing less. This incident also reveals how outrage has become a business model. A rumour starts often from one unverified source. It gets picked up by a tabloid site, then echoed by 1,000 social accounts desperate for engagement. Suddenly, it's trending. Suddenly, it's news. And by the time the truth surfaces that the booing happened 2,000 miles away, the damage is done. People remember the falsehood, not the correction. And that's how reputations are chipped away, one invented scandal at a time. It's almost poetic that this controversy unfolded at a baseball game. Because baseball, more than any other sport, represents tradition meeting change. And that's exactly what Meghan and Harry represent in the royal world modernity, challenging outdated norms. Their presence at Dodger Stadium wasn't political. It was cultural, a reminder that they've built a new identity outside palace walls. When the camera showed them smiling in the stands, it symbolized independence, freedom, a life defined on their own terms. Now compare that to the coverage of William and Kate's public moments. When they attend sports games, the headlines gush, "Elegant Kate captivates the crowd." William shares a laugh with fans, but when Meghan does the same, it becomes Meghan draws attention with casual appearance, or Meghan steals the spotlight again. Same action, different tone. Every single time. It's a masterclass in biased framing, subtle enough to sound harmless, but powerful enough to shape public perception. For fans actually in the stadium that night, the experience told a different story. They saw Meghan laughing during the seventh inning stretch. They saw Harry clapping after a double play. They saw the two of them chatting easily with the people sitting nearby. No awkwardness, no tension, just joy. And that's what frustrates the tabloids most, when reality doesn't match the narrative they're trying to sell. Moments like this prove that Meghan and Harry have successfully built a normal life. They go to games, they go to concerts, they have dinner dates. They are no longer bound by royal protocol or the constant stage management of palace optics. And that normalcy, that humanity, is exactly what some people can't handle. Because if they're just a regular couple living freely, it undermines years of tabloid storytelling that paints them as dramatic, out of touch, or desperate for attention. Notice the contradictions? If Meghan and Harry stay home, tabloids claim they're isolated. If they go out, tabloids claim they're seeking publicity. If they smile, they're fake. If they don't smile, they're miserable. It's a no-win cycle built to keep them under a microscope. And yet, through it all, they keep showing up calm, dignified, smiling. It's worth remembering that Meghan is, at her core, an American woman from Los Angeles. Baseball is part of her cultural DNA. Her attendance at a Dodgers game isn't newsworthy. It's expected. It's what every Angelino does when their team makes the World Series. But when you add Duchess of Sussex to her name, every move becomes magnified. Still, what shines through is her authenticity. She wasn't putting on a royal performance. She was being herself. The real story of that night wasn't the false rumour. It was the image of freedom of two people enjoying a slice of ordinary life, far from the constraints of palace protocol. They weren't performing for cameras. They weren't representing an institution. They were just being. And that's something the monarchy could never quite grasp, that true connection comes from authenticity, not hierarchy. This so-called booing story is yet another reminder of why public trust in the British press keeps falling. When people realise how stories like this are fabricated, they start asking bigger questions. What else have we been misled about? Whose agenda is being served? And each time a false scandal collapses, Meghan and Harry's credibility grows stronger. It's also striking how at peace the Sussexes seem these days, in contrast to the tension often seen among the royals still in the system. Their joy at the game wasn't forced. It was natural. And fans picked up on that energy immediately. They looked like every couple who's been through storms and come out stronger. When you look at the bigger picture, this moment at Dodger Stadium is part of a larger narrative, not of scandal, but of survival. After years of attacks, smear campaigns, and relentless scrutiny, Meghan and Harry are still standing, smiling, thriving, and refusing to play the game that once hurt them. That's the true takeaway. The tabloids need Meghan and Harry. They need them for sales, for clicks, for outrage. But Meghan and Harry don't need them anymore. They have their platform, their projects, their peace. And the moment you don't need validation from toxic systems, you become unstoppable. So here's the truth, stripped of headlines. Meghan and Harry went to a baseball game. They cheered, they laughed, they left. There were no boos, no drama, just joy. And yet joy was once again mistaken for scandal. The next time you see a headline claiming Meghan and Harry were snubbed, booed, or humiliated, ask yourself one thing: who benefits from that story being believed? Because the answer every time isn't the public. It's the press that profits from keeping this narrative alive. In truth, the only thing that happened at Dodger Stadium was exactly what Meghan and Harry set out to do: to live freely, to smile, and to enjoy a simple American evening. And that, in itself, is the biggest victory of all.